Okay. How many of you gone through? I told you one thing, right? Yeah. First, tell me. I asked you one question long back. If my PEM key is lost, what I should do? What you will be doing? Hello.
You need to create a snapshot.
Yes.
Take a
See.
backup.
See, the first answer, if my PEM key is lost, this is my EC2 instance, and the day my PEM key, the login password is lost. This is my password, right? So if this is not what I should do, the first method is you can take an AMI of that machine. If you take a AMI of that machine, what happens? Whatever the things available in that machine, everything will be copied. Your operating system, your files, your network information, everything will be copied. And you can copy this AMI to another machine or launch in another AMI. Second way, you can take a snapshot. If you're just interested in the files which are stored inside your machine, if you just wanted to back up those files, then what you can need, you can create a snapshot and attach it to again any of the EC2 instance. This is the second way. Next, there is another way, but my question is, my PEM key is lost. I want to recover this PEM key, right? This is my question. The answer, whatever we are giving, like AMI, snapshot, everything is perfect. I'm not denying that. But when you look at this question, if PEM key is lost, what you should be doing? The answer is same, but there is another option known as system manager. Okay. Using this service in AWS, you can able to recover your PEM key. That we'll discuss like maybe I don't know, next week or something like that. But please remember, this is another option using which you can able to recover your PEM key. Okay, so these are the three different methods you can able to recover. This is most asked question in the interview, sir. So that's why. Okay, so next, now let us continue our discussion. So quickly, I'm writing a VPC. So if this is my VPC, this is my public subnet, and this is my private subnet. And from public subnet to private, some IGW, we have attached it to your VPC. Then comes your public routing table, right? Then your, oh, just quickly, this is your routing table. This is also one of the routing table. Then comes your NAT gateway. This is route gate. This is NAT gateway. And now we are trying to establish a connection between all of these things, right? And the I hope everybody know this. What are the names for this? This is my private subnet. This is my public subnet. This is my public route table. This is IGW, Internet Gateway. This is my NAT gateway. And this is my private routing table, right? So these are the things we discussed. And we also created some EC2 machines inside this subnets. This instance is a public EC2 instance, and this instance is a private EC2 instance. Everything is done already. But I asked you one question, right? See, this is a private subnet, exactly fine. You are securing your private resources, everything is good. But Here also, if you're having some database or some application server, something you'll be having, right? Even it needs to be connected to the internet. Like even these needs some updations. If I'm using, let's say MySQL is one of the database. MySQL version 1 I'm using. I wanted to upgrade it to MySQL version 2. Again, it should connect to the internet, right? If it wants to update the database itself, then again it needs to connect to the internet. Then how it should go? It should directly, there is no direct way for your private EC2 instances to connect to the internet. There is no direct way, right? So how it will go? First, from your routing table, will go to NAT gateway. From NAT gateway till this journey, till here, it will make use of your private IP. At NAT gateway, what NAT gateway will do, it will convert your private IP into elastic IP. Elastic IP is nothing but public IP. Then through your public subnet, it will go out. Okay. And it will connect to the internet. Once all the things are done, same IP should come back to your NAT gateway. Then only it will allow inside your private subnet. Whatever the IP address that you are sending from your NAT gateway, only if that request is coming back, only that IP is coming back, then only it will allow inside. Otherwise, it will not allow. Okay. So in that way, it will not allow any IPs coming from the internet. Only it will allow the request which has gone from the NAT gateway will expect the same IP address. That is the first thing. Yeah, this is fine. We are creating, everything is done. Other point, now, if you wanted to, it is not an artificial intelligence tool, right? Your EC2 instance. Whenever if it wants to update itself from version 1 to version 2, how it is going to do? Someone need to log into this system, right? Someone need to log into that system and you need to execute some command sudo apt update, something like that. He needs to execute that command. But is it possible to log into this private EC2 instances? The answer is no. Why? Because it will be just having a private IP address. It doesn't have a public IP. That means if you don't have a public IP, then there is no way you can log into this system directly or doing SSH to this system, right? So this is already discussed, right? Now, even if you wanted to log into this system, how you can do, sir? First, from your computer, imagine this is your computer. From your computer, first log into your public EC2 instance. First log into that system. Then from that system, you can jump to this system using its private IP. See, we are doing an internal communication here. I explained you once, private IPs can be used for the internal communication, right? I'm shifting it from one subnet to another subnet or one EC2 instance to another EC2 instance using its private subnet. It is not living, the request is not reaching internet. It is just within an Amazon network, right? So in that way, I'm using it for public, just using it for uh, using private IP to shift from one public subnet to others public subnet. Okay. Now what we need to do, I'm just deleting this. The agenda here is first we need to log into this system to your public subnet. Then from public subnet, you are logging into your private EC2 instance. Then we'll execute this sudo apt and update command. Okay. So for this mechanism, what we call it as a jump server or Bastion host. As I already told you, this is the name for this thing. So let us practically do this quickly. Just give me a second. Where is this? Okay. Okay. Let us quickly create one VPC and entire architecture. I'll not be taking much time, just 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, we'll loading garage. So your VPC, create VPC. See here, I wanted to show you one more option. If you click on VPC only here, you need to provide everything, right? There is another option just beside this VPC and more. Okay. If you look at this, see, it is a diagrammatical representation. In single screen, you can able to create everything. Here, see, first project, you just provide the project name. I'll say VPC. Okay. And just CIDR range. It is already 10.0.0.16. Okay. Now, how many subnets, how many availability zones you want? I want one. 0. Number of private subnets, number of public subnets. In which availability zone you wanted to create your NAT gateway, VPC endpoints. Everything is here. That is, it's a simple and easy, quick way of creating your VPC. Just provide the name and you can able to see the connection. First, this VPC is connected to this routing table, or this subnet is connected to this routing table and IGW. The connection set is clearly showing, right? This is the one advantage of creating a VPC using this way, VPC and more. But I am comfortable doing this, but I am not, I just wanted to show you this option. Okay. So my VPC 10.0.0.0/16 and my VPC is created, right? Next comes your subnet, create subnet, which is the VPC, public subnet, public, what is the availability zone 1A, just change this number, okay, it is not 10.0.0.0/24, and my public subnet is created. Here there is an option, add new subnet, private, availability zone 1A, 10.0.10.0/24. My private subnet is created. Okay. Next, what I need to do, I am not explaining all these things, sir. I'm just creating it. Next is internet gateway. Just create an internet gateway, IGW, creating IGW, attach it to your my VPC. I'm attaching it. Next, create a public routing table. Create public routing table VPC and create routing table. Just come down, routes, add route, internet. Then where it should go? It should go to internet gateway. Save changes. Then come to subnet association. Edit subnet. Select public. Done. Your public subnet routing table and this one internet gateway connection is done. Now what should I do? I should do the connectivity for your what is this private subnet. Please remember, whenever you are here, you will miss what you will do. Now please tell me. Let me. You please tell me now. NAT gateway is there, right? Now NAT gateway, where it should be created? Where should I should create now? Please tell me. Whether I should be creating in public subnet or whether I should be creating it in private subnet. Here.
Private subnet.
Hello?
Sir.
Yes. See what you will do. Private subnet now. How many of you are saying private subnet? Or how many of you are saying public subnet?
Public subnet, sir.
Okay. Somebody, some answers are public subnet, some are private subnets.
Private subnet, sir, but connected to public subnet.
Okay. See, the answer is here NAT gateway. Whenever you are creating a NAT gateway, create this inside your public subnet. Thus, that is how you are associating with your public subnet. Okay. So please remember, whenever you are creating a NAT gateway, please create it in a public subnet. This is one of the important steps. Everybody will do mistake here. Okay, so let us create a NAT gateway. That is how you associate your NAT gateway with the public subnet. Okay, so create NAT gateway. This is important, sir. You'll forget to do this subnet. You'll just come, okay, NAT gateway, will create it in public. You'll select this. No, you should be selecting your public subnet. Then only your traffic from private subnet or private EC2 instance will reach to your public subnet. Through public subnet, it will reach to your internet. Otherwise, it will not go to your public subnet or to IGW. Okay, you must create NAT gateway in public subnet. Okay, just select public, allocate elastic IP, then create NAT gateway. NAT gateway is created, then create a private routing table. Private routing table. What is the VPC? My VPC. Create routing table. And now in routes, what should I add? Just add 0.0.0. Where it should go now? It should go to NAT gateway. This is my NAT gateway. Done. Save changes. Then come to subnet association. Here everything is common. Again, here again select private, save association. Okay, everything is common. The only thing is you should create a NAT gateway in your public subnet. That is mandatory. Okay, so now everything is created. What is the next step? I wanted to create some EC2 instances here. So I'll create one EC2 instance in the whatever the VPC we created just now. I'll call it as test. Now I should create two EC2 instances, one in public subnet and another one is private subnet. US edit my VPC. First, I need to create it in public subnet. Created, assign elastic IP, enable. This is my public subnet. So that is the reason I'm enabling my public IP. I need to log in, right? So that's fine. Okay. Now everything is fine. And here one more option. if you come to advanced network configuration, here you can able to provide your public IP, private IP. Whether I told you one option, deletion on termination. If you're deleting any EC2 instance accidentally, we can enable task yes. Then it will not delete that EC2 instance, even somebody is deleting that accidentally, right? So that option also you can enable. Now, as of now, I'm not doing it. Just launch instance. My public EC2 instance is created. Let me create one more EC2 instance. This is, I'll call it as private. Okay, Ubuntu. As of now, I don't have any database server. Again, I'm creating one more server there. Select the, see, this is, please remember, this is a key pair that I'm using for creating your public private EC2 instance. Okay, please remember, I'll come back to this within 5 minutes. Okay, just what is my VPC? Now I'm creating inside my private subnet. Do I need a public IP? I don't need, because it is a private EC2 instance. Just come down and launch an EC2 instance. And done. Okay, now let me log into this one first. What is this? Test is my public EC2 instance, right? Let me rename this. This is public. Now let me log in. Okay, now I'm inside my public EC2 instance. Now, if I try to reach internet from here, ping www.google.com. Now, if I try to reach internet, yes, it is working. It is connecting to your Google server and it is getting the response. That is similar to hi, you are saying, and you are getting a response from Google server saying hello. This is how you are getting. To come out of this, just click on Control C. Okay, Control L, clear. Now this is fine. Now what I need to do, I need to create a jump server, right? What is that jump server? Now from my public EC2 machine, I should jump to my private EC2 machine. Public to private. If you wanted to jump from public EC2 machine to private EC2 machine, what you need to do is take a key pair, whichever it is used for creating this public EC2 machine. That is, I am using this us.pem, right? I already showed you. This is the key pair that I was using for creating your private EC2 instance. Just go there, open with Notepad, Control A, Control C. Just copy the content of this. Then come back to your public EC2 instance. I'm inside my public EC2 instance. Just create vi us.pem. Same name I'm creating. Even if you can provide any other name, doesn't matter here. Okay. Just click on enter. I insert and paste that content. Okay. Just save this. What I did now, I just, whichever the key pair I use for creating this private EC2 instance. I went into that key pair, I copied it, copy that key pair, and create that key pair us.pem in your public EC2 instance. Okay, that is what I did. Next, what I need to do, next, I just wanted to show you this error, SSH. If you see, your PEM key is created now. Now, SSH -I, what is that key name? us.pem. The next is Ubuntu, same username. Now you need to use a private IP address of your private EC2 machine. This is my private EC2 machine, right? There is no public IP. Then I need to use private IP address. Okay, just copy that. Come here, paste it. Just click on enter. Yes. Now you will get error. See, it is saying you bad permission. There is no problem with this command or logging, but the problem is with your PEM key. Okay, what you just need to do, you just need to use this command. We already discussed about this command, change mode. Just change the permission. 777-600 we discussed, right? Ch mode 400 and your file name us.pem. It is changed. Now again, let us try to log into your private EC2 instance. Just click on yes. See, can you able to see this? The private IP is 10.0.10.146. Can you able to see my private IP is 10.0.10.146. That means we have successfully logged in into our private EC2 instance. Clear? Any doubts here?
No, sir.
So just a simple two-step process here. Now, if I try to execute this command, sudo apt update. Now it should update. See, it is connecting to the internet. How it is connecting? First, from your private EC2 instance through your private routing table, it reaches to NAT gateway. Okay, NAT gateway is created in your public subnet. Through public subnet, it will go to public routing table. Then it will reach the internet. Then it will connect to the internet. Then do whatever the operations it wanted to do. Then come back with the same IP address which has sent. Then only it will allow inside your EC2 instance. Clear? This is what happening here. It has updated all the things. Okay. Here the major important point, create a NAT gateway in public subnet. This is very important. If you are creating it in private, you will face so many issues and you will never know where you created this. Okay. So please remember this. Clear, everyone, how to do this? How to create an entire VPC architecture? Okay. So now, you know, if somebody comes and asks you, what is the VPC architecture? You know everything, right? Now tell me, is that now why we need VPC? Sir, why we need VPC? We discussed all the things, correct?
To secure our EC2 and our data.
Yes. See, using VPC, which helps us to build our own isolated network. Nobody can come and communicate with our resources. So which helps us to create our own isolated resources or network where we can host our resources, which helps us to protect our resources from unauthorized access, right? And what we are doing in VPC? In VPC, we are going to create a larger address spaces, right? We are creating larger address spaces using a concept known as CADR, class interdomain routing. Using this, we are creating a larger network, right? And other thing, using a concept known as subnetting, we are dividing this larger network into two types. One is public subnet and other one is private subnet. What is public subnet here? Can anybody tell me? What is public subnet?
Just go to the internet and everybody can access
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Any subnet which is directly connected to IGW. Any subnet which is connected to IGW, you can call it as a public subnet. That is the one way of defining. Other way of defining what is public subnet? Any subnet which what is that? I forgot, sir. Which is part of public routing table. I can also define it like this. Any subnet which is part of IGW is also public subnet. Any subnet which is part of public routing table or route towards internet is also my public subnet. Okay. And what is private subnet? Same, apply the same thing. Any subnet which is part of NAT gateway, we call it as a private subnet. Okay. And now tell me what is the difference between IGW and NAT gateway? IGW, any answers?
Entry exit point.
See, using your IGW, you can able to send out a request from your EC2 instance or accept the request from your EC2 instance from the outside world, that is your internet. It is kind of a connection point between you and your outside world. It is kind of a bridge, right? And you can create only one IGW per VPC. One VPC, one IGW. And what is NAT gateway? You already know it converts your private IP into public IP and helps your private resources to reach your internet. That is what it is doing. And now I just wanted to make one more point here. That is, generally there is no generally there is no public IP for your private EC2 resources, right? So if it wants to connect to the internet, then what you're going to use? You're going to use NAT gateway. And how NAT will allow us to reach to the internet? It will create something called as elastic IP. This is nothing but a public IP. Through this public IP, you can able to reach to internet. Okay. And one more thing, please remember, NAT is a unidirectional. What do you mean by unidirectional, sir? That is, if
Single way communication.
yes, only one way communication. If I am sending a request from NAT to internet, this is only one direction. If somebody else is sending the request from the internet, it will not accept. That is, to keep it in a simple words, whatever the IP it has sent, see, now it is sending it from 10.0.0.0. This is my elastic IP. if it is sending this request to internet, then it expects the same incoming or outbound incoming traffic from the internet. Okay, this is a single request. So it expects the same IP to be get back, right? That is, whatever the IP it has sent to the internet, then it expects the same IP must be returned. Then only NAT allows the traffic to the private machines. Otherwise, it will not allow. So that is what unidirectional, only one direction. Okay. And now tell me, I do have a web server, application server, and database server. Now, where you will keep all these things, in which subnets you are going to keep? Quickly, I should get the response, sir. We don't have much time.
Web in public, app
Web
and
Public
is
web.
database in
public,
private.
application database is private.
So answer is web server is in public, application server and DB server is in private. Correct? This is the answer from everyone in this. See, the answer is wrong. This is because I know I explained you the same thing, but in real time, what they'll do, they'll keep everything which might be web server, application server, or database server, everything in private subnet. Nobody will have the access to your private EC2 instances. Then the question comes to your mind, I know, then how they are going to route the traffic? In the next classes, next maybe tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow, we are going to start something called as load balancers. Using these load balancers, you can able to distribute the traffic to these things, not to application server and DB server, to your web applications, web server. Okay. Using load balancers, you can able to access from the outside world. And all these applications are kept in private subnets. Please remember. Then what is there in my public subnet? You'll be just having a jump server. One Bastion host is created inside your public subnet. Now, this is my laptop. From my laptop, I'll connect to this Bastion host. From this Bastion host, I can able to connect to this uh, private EC2 instances. Just the Bastion host we are going to create here. Nothing else in public subnet. All other things are kept in your private subnet. Okay. This is a 3-tier architecture they are following here. They create everything in private subnet. What is 3-tier architecture? We'll discuss sometime. And everything they'll keep it in a private subnet. Please remember this. If somebody asks you what is there in public subnet, only Bastion host or jump server. What is there in private subnet? All web application server and DB server. Everything is there. Clear? I hope you got the
Yes.
point here. Next one is we did not define what is routing table. What is routing table? See, routing table is basically, it basically defines how a traffic should flow, from where to where it should flow, right? It basically defines how a traffic should be directed from one subnet to another subnet or to the external destinations like internet. That is what it is doing, right? This is my public subnet and this is where internet gateway. And it is directing me towards internet. That is, it defines how a traffic should be directed from one subnet to another subnet or to the external destinations like internet. That is what it will do. And public subnet always have the direction towards IGW. Private subnet always have a direction towards NAT gateway, right? And in other words, I can also call routing table as in it acts as a bridge bridge between your subnets and NAT gateway or IGW. It is nothing but a bridge between your subnets and IGW. That is another way. In the routing table, we have two things. One is routes and the other one is subnet association. You already know you are connecting using these two things. You are establishing a connection. Okay. If somebody asks you, you should explain all these things. And even I'll be sharing the notes. I didn't have much time, sir. I'll share that notes as well with you, maybe today. Okay, please read that notes. That is more than enough. You don't no need to refer any other notes. Okay, just do that. Next, any questions from VPC before I move on?
Sachin, like we discussed, a smaller size of VPC architecture and how it look like the larger architecture and medium size.
See. Whatever the thing, first I showed you creating small, simple architecture. I showed you, right? We created two subnets and we connected to internet using routing table. Now again, what I showed you one public subnet, one private subnet, and we hosted applications. In real time, what they'll do, sir, just they'll be having multiple, single public subnet. This is a single public subnet. You'll be creating just a Bastion host here. Okay, but you'll be having a multiple private subnets. All these private subnets are connected to single NAT gateway. And this NAT gateway is created in here. This is what they'll do. They'll be just having multiple private subnets and single public subnet. It might be, I'm just writing it as 3. There might be 15 or 20 private subnets. Just increasing that capability. That's it. Nothing else. No changes here. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. And now let us come to our original discussion. Now I want answer from everyone. What is security group? Hello?
Security group which allows the protocol and port, that HTTP, RDP, and SSH.
Yes. Yes, but what is security group? See?
Security for instance.
Yeah. See, security group is nothing but a firewall at where? At EC2 level, at instance level. It is nothing but I told you, it is kind of a gatekeeper or a security guard to your EC2 instance. It secures your EC2 instances, right? It allows the incoming traffic and it controls incoming and outgoing traffics for your EC2 instance using its port and protocol. These things I already explained, and it is a stateful protocol. What do you mean by stateful protocol or stateful firewall? What is stateful firewall? If you allow the inbound traffic, then outbound traffic is automatically allowed. That is what a stateful meaning. So your security group is a stateful firewall. These are the things you must be remembering when somebody asks you what is security group. Security group, just tell them is nothing but a security guard at a EC2 level. What otherwise is a firewall at instance level, right? And it is a stateful firewall. What is stateful? If you allow the inbound traffic, then automatically outbound traffic is allowed. And you can control incoming and outgoing traffic based on port and protocols. Okay. By default, what security group will do? By default, it will deny any requests are coming in. This is the story related to your security group. Now, We discussed about stateful, right? Stateful is your security group. There is another one known as stateless, stateless firewall. What is that? It is a NACL, NACL or NACL, any name, network access control list. The full form of this one is network access control list. So let us compare both security group and your NACL so that you can able to understand it in a easy way. So where the security group will work, sir? Security group is nothing but it is a firewall at EC2 instance level. But your NACL is nothing but again the same thing. It is a firewall, is kind of a gatekeeper, but where? At subnet level. That is the only difference. It is a security at EC2 instance level. It is a security at a subnet level. For each subnet, you will be having one NACL. Okay. So your security group is a stateful firewall. What do you mean by stateful? Incoming is allowed, but outgoing is automatically allowed, right? But here in what is this state? Your NACL is a stateless firewall. What do you mean by stateless firewall? If you allow the inbound traffic, then the corresponding response or corresponding outbound traffic is not automatically allowed. That means if you're allowing the inbound traffic, see here in your security group, you are allowing the inbound traffic and the same outbound traffic is automatically allowed, right? But in NACL, if you are allowing the inbound traffic, then outbound traffic is not automatically allowed. You need to explicitly change this behavior. Okay. Now here, if I'm adding port 80, then somebody can come in and go without my permission. But here, if somebody is coming in, then also you need to ask my permission. While going back also, you should ask my permission. That is what the meaning. Okay. Just to keep it in a simple word, if you allow inbound traffic, the corresponding response traffic is not automatically allowed. So you need to define separate rule for inbound and outbound traffic. That is the meaning of stateful and stateless. That is the difference between stateful and stateless. Everyone understood? What is this? Simple. Okay. By default, what your security group will do, it will deny all the requests, but it will allow all the requests. If you are not defining anything, then what it will do, it will just allow all the requests. But if you are not defining here, it will just deny those requests. Okay. This is the basic difference between basic is not a basic thing. The difference is this. What is the difference between security group and what is the difference between NACL? It is a firewall at EC2 level. It is a firewall at instance level. Sorry, at subnet level. It is a stateful firewall. It is a stateless firewall. What do you mean by stateful? If you allow inbound traffic, the corresponding outbound traffic is automatically allowed in your stateful. If you are allowing inbound traffic, then corresponding outbound traffic is not automatically allowed. So that is your stateless firewall. You need to explicitly mention or create that rule. Okay. By default, it is deny. By default, it is allowed. So let us see this NACL. Oh, where is this? Okay. Here, if you come to your VPC, here we already have, right? Just come down. Here you can able to see network ACLs. security groups and network ACLs. Just click on that. Create new network ACL. Just provide any name, any ACL, under which VPC you are creating. My VPC. Just come down. Create ACL. Your NACL is created. Now you need to define the rules here. Inbound rule and outbound rule. Incoming, what are the rules for your incoming traffic? That is inbound rules. And what are the rules for your outgoing traffic from your EC2 instance? Those rules you need to define. Inbound traffic, edit inbound rules. And here, one more point. Where is this? I just had one photo from last batch. I just wanted to show you this. Just give me a second. Where did I place it? Just a second. I just searching that. I don't see that, but no problem. Okay. See, whenever you create any firewall, stateless firewall or stateful firewall, what you are going to do, you are going to create rules here. Okay. In network access control list or in NACL, you just need to create one rule. While creating this rule, you need to provide some number, any number based on your wish. I'll say 100. And what I'll do, I'll say port range. Let's say I'm allowing 22. And here by default, I told you it is always allow. And you can also change it to deny. And now, again, I'll create one more rule. Let's say 80 as my number. And I'll say 4443 as my port number for HTTPS. And I'll say deny or allow anything. And save changes. Okay. And this is how you create a rules, everything. But one more thing, what I wanted to tell you here is, see, where is this? When you create a rule, what you're going to provide? You're going to provide some number, right? Some number you're providing. Why you're providing number? See, there is a rule in NACL or your NACL that is lower the number, then the priority of that rule is very high. If the number is higher the number, and the priority of that rule is very low. That means I've created two rules. One is rule 100 and another one is rule 80. Based on this formula, what it is saying, lower the number, higher the priority. So this one gets evaluates first. This is the highest priority one. And this is the lowest priority as of now. Higher the number, lower the priority. While creating a rule, we are going to mention some number. If this number is lowest number, 1 is the lowest number, then it has a highest priority. 1000 is my highest number, let's say. Then it is having a lowest priority. It evaluates your rules, allow or deny rules based on these numbers. Clear, guys? Hello?
Yes.
Yes. And here you can also create your, first you need to create inbound rules, and then if you wanted to do some outbound rule, you can also do that. Okay, see, I've created two rules here. Inbound rules, HTTP and port 22. Here again, you need to come back and create a new rule. Once the traffic reaches to your EC2 instance, see, this is my EC2 instance. This is my phone. If I'm sending a request, this is my incoming traffic. It has reached my application here. Once it is reached, what I'm doing, I'm allowing my request at subnet level. And while coming back also, I should allow, right? Here, what I'm doing, while incoming traffic, I'm allowing HTTPS and SSH. But at outbound, I'm not allowing these things. See, you can able to see this. It is by default, it is denied. Right? Now you need to add a rule. What is that rule? 100. Custom TCP or any protocol that you want. 22. Save changes. And again do this. Add rule 80. And 443 is my port number for HTTPS. Done. Now it will reach out to your inbound traffic, and at the same time outbound traffic is also allowed. Okay, so just to clarify the things now, see, this is my EC2 instance. Just a second. Okay, so this is my EC2 instance. Inside my EC2 instance, what I'm hosting? I'm hosting one website inside my EC2 machine. Okay, so now to secure this EC2 instance, what I did, I created one security group at an instance level. This is my security group. Now, where this, what is that? This EC2 instance is placed. This is placed under a subnet, right? I'm placing it under some private subnet. So to protect this private subnet, again, what I'm doing, again, I'm creating one more network or one more security guard here. Who is that security guard? That is my NACL I'm creating, right? And I already just told you, introduced you the concept that is load balancers. Again, on top of these instances, we are going to create something called as load balancer. Just to give you what is this load balancer, it will just distribute the traffic to different instances. That's it. That is what it will do. Okay. Now again, on top of this load balancer, what is the color I'm using? I'm using black here. Now I'm creating a load balancer. Again, on top of this load balancer, for security, what I'm using, we'll be using something called as WAF, Web Application Firewall. That is, if somebody is using some SQL injection mechanism or hackers, you might have heard of these hackers, right? They'll be using these techniques, SQL injection, DDoS attacks. These things they'll be doing to safeguard our website from these kind of attacks. What we'll be using something called as WAF. Okay, see, first we started one EC2 instance at instance level security group, at subnet level NACL, at load balancer level we're using WAF. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you look at the depth, please remember this word, defense in depth. Please use these words in your interview, sir. Defense in depth. Okay, what is this defense in depth? AWS always try to improve their security by using this defense in depth mechanism. See, first at WAF level, then comes your NACL level, then comes your security group level, right? This is what they're doing. They, at each and every level, they're trying to improve their security using this defense in depth mechanism. Okay, so That is the reason they are using all the stateful, stateless, WAF. In next time, we'll be learning some other security tools. All these things we'll learn. Okay. So that is the major difference between your security group and NACL. But please remember this word, defense in depth. This is important. Whenever you explaining concepts to anyone, please use these keywords. Fine. And we discussed about security group. We discussed about NACL. We discussed about other things. What is left out? NAT I already explained. Yeah. Let me, what is the time? 8:11. Within the 2 or 3 minutes, I'll just give you a brief about what is the tomorrow's topic. Okay. Now tell me, this is my one of the, before going into the next topic, any doubts here? Okay, I'll assume it as no, right? Now, this is one of my VPC, VPC1, and I'll create another VPC, VPC2. Okay, now, as I already told you while starting of my VPC class, there is no communication between two VPCs by default. There is no communication between VPCs, right? Because this is my separate isolated network and this is my separate isolated network, right? And so that is the reason you'll not be having, and the CIDR range is also different of these two VPCs. Isolated networks and CIDR range is also different between these two VPCs. So there is no communication by default between these two VPCs. But now what I wanted to do was I wanted to create a connection between these two VPCs or multiple VPCs in that sense. That is the one application I'm running here and one application I'm running here. And for some reason, I want these two applications should be communicated. Some application, this is my front end and this is my back end. I'm keeping it here. And this is, let's say this is Facebook front end and this is Facebook back end. Okay. Now I want a communication between my front end and back end of the application. Where I'm keeping those applications, I'm keeping it in one VPC and I'm keeping back end in other VPC. So I need to establish a communication between these two things. So if you wanted to establish communication between different VPCs or multiple VPCs, then the concept here is we are going to use something called as VPC peering. This is the concept which is used to establish a communication between multiple VPCs. Clear? What do you mean by VPC peering? It is used to establish a connection between different VPCs or multiple VPCs. Why? By default, there is no communication between the VPCs. You need to create this connection explicitly. So that is what we are going to learn tomorrow. VPC peering. Fine. And I was literally sorry. Like I was very busy from past 2 weeks. I couldn't able to take the classes properly, but I'll try to do that as I can avoid as much as possible. I was completely occupied with so much work. So that's why. And but we are not going to cross, see, October 10th or 1 or 2 days here and there will complete your AWS. Complete AWS and will be completing by October 10th or 12th. Maximum 15 in that sense. Then in October month, from 15th, maybe we'll complete all your mock session, everything by 15. From 15 to maximum 10 days, 25 or 26. will be completing Terraform. Okay, we need to complete the Terraform. Then after that, 27 to 1 or 2, maybe 5 to 6 days, we'll complete something called as Ansible. These are very easy. Once you learn with Terraform, Ansible is dead easy. Once you're done with AWS, your Terraform is dead easy. What you will do in Terraform, whatever the things that you are doing using your console, right? You click on this sign in console, launch instance, whatever the things you're clicking on it. But the same thing you're going to do with the help of code. That's it. This is very easy when you compare to this AWS console. That is what we are going to learn in Terraform. Then Ansible. So we'll complete your entire this one. Maybe by December 20th or maximum will go December. That's it. I promised you to complete by December 15th, maybe 10 to 15 days here and there. We'll complete everything by this month. Okay. So, and one more thing, once you're done with your December, once you're completing all these things, immediately after that, you will get maybe 10 maximum days to revise all these things. Okay. You will be having one final mock session. As you already explained in my induction session, final mock session. Once this is done, your profile is up and you will start receiving the interview calls. You need to attend the interview calls maximum by January 10th. You'll start getting the interviews. Okay. This is the deadline for you. Please go through every day. We are discussing new things here. And while preparing for, let's say you are preparing for security group concept, how you're preparing, you're just okay, this is. I want you to prepare for interviews, sir. Imagine whenever you're preparing for any concept, what you need to do, imagine there is a person sitting in front of you. Let's say is an interviewer, and this is you. This is you. And imagine this person is sitting in front of you. And when this person asks this question, what is security group, whatever the concepts that you are reading, how you are going to answer for that person? Just answer in that way. Just imagine this person is sitting in front of you and read this concept. Then you will be capable of clearing the interviews. Otherwise, you'll face you can able to clear the interviews, but you will take a lot of time. That's it. So that's why this is the one tip. Please follow this. And please work on your communication. That is the another thing. And yeah, if there are no questions, you can wind up the session. Any questions?
Sachin, after Ansible and Terraform, so what are the other things we are going to discuss?
We'll be learning Docker, Kubernetes, maximum for one month to 1.5 months. Once that is done, you'll be having Prometheus, Grafana for maximum of 1 week. Then you will come to CI/CD pipelines, whether it's Jenkins or GitHub Actions. With there, we'll do some real-time projects, maybe 2 or 1. We'll do the real-time projects. And in Jenkins, you'll be integrating whatever the things you learned from starting. Now you're learning GitHub, AWS, Terraform, everything you learned, right? We are going to integrate all these tools and technologies in a single pipeline, in a single tool, okay, for doing the automation. So that's why I'm going step by step for integrating all these tools at the end. Fine?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks then. Bye. See you tomorrow.